What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 22 of the TLDR podcast. Thank you for hopping on and listening. We're here, boys. Let's check in with everybody. James, how was your weekend? How you doing?
It was good, man. Played 2 rounds of golf on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, woke up at like 4 o'clock to play 18 holes before football started. That was a lot of fun. My best golf ever. Thank you, Trey, for showing us that new course. Other than that, I've pretty much given up all hope in the Niners. So watching the game on Sunday wasn't too bad. Didn't get too angry. Just let it flow. Hanging out with the guys. Good weekend.
Then they just hurt Drew Brees too.
On a really good tackle.
Yeah, that was gnarly
at all.
That was gnarly.
That was crazy. Eric, I feel like I haven't seen you so long, man. How have you been?
I'm good. Just, the same. I ended up golfing. James is mad at me. I had to do shit Saturday morning, and I thought when they were golfing, they were going to go early. The time wasn't specified. Then I got invited to golf. Coyotes almost attacked me. And, I haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah.
Well, you were in the fucking Bermuda Triangle, so that's your fault.
It was. You're right. How was what do you think of the outcome of the Masters this weekend?
It was actually a little boring just because Dustin Johnson just murdered it. Like, basically by like Friday at the end of the day, it's just like he was already just digging himself into just holding into the first spot, and he kind of just dominated. But it was good. But I mean, there wasn't like that much crazy exciting stuff.
Yeah. It was cool to see Dustin Johnson just dominate, though. I think Tradon and I we were watching it. We're just trying to debate what his final score would be. I won that debate, so
you did.
There you go, Tradon. What was your thoughts on the Masters, and how you doing?
I'm good. It was pretty. I guess the biggest thing is it was pretty amazing to see Dustin Johnson finally get that Masters win. It's his second major, I think, and I think it's really special for him because he grew up in that area, like an hour away. Like that's where he kind of grew up and lived most of his young life. So I think that was very important to him to put that on, put that in his career and take that green jacket. And it was really cool to see him choke up over that. So I love the guy. He's a great golfer. He's fun to watch. He's exciting. He's not so meticulous like someone we know who scored like 2 triple bogeys or some shit. Lost 2 balls is kind of funny. Knowing that the best of the best do it too, it's always fun to watch that.
Yeah, they fuck up too, but they also are way better than us, and it makes me feel really shitty about myself when I watch them play. So that's always good. True that. Always good to be humbled. Alex, Mr. Beer and now wine guy.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm great. Eric told me to put money on the Europeans, and an American won. So what's the deal with that?
Did you put money on them? I hope you did.
No, I did not. I did not watch one single swing of a golf bat this weekend.
Golf
I did.
bat?
Yeah, golf bat. I know it's a club. I did check up on the leaders as the weekend was going. That quick Google. Other than that, I'm great. Quick question for you, athletic trainers out there. Beer is a good pain medication, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. Alcohol kills germs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Eric. Yes, just yes. I hurt my back. I don't know what I did, so I'm getting the pain away. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, I think
just pour beer on it.
Yeah. Rub some beer in it. Drink beer. Just the more beer, the better.
Bathe in beer.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool. I got a lot of beer at home, so we're good.
Sweet. Well, we got a good episode for you guys today. Eric's going to talk about the upcoming NBA draft and free agency, everything that's going on with that. James is going to give us his weekly fantasy football waiver picks. Alex is going to talk about the best and the worst uniforms in sports. And Tradon's going to finish us off here with the biggest busts in sports history. So stick around. I got my first World Series Dodgers shirt in the mail today. Repping it today. Feels amazing. Still riding high on that. So stick around, and we'll be back with Eric's NBA segment. All right. Welcome back, everybody. The NBA draft is upon us here in November. A little weird, but hey, it's 2020. Everything's just all fucked. But hey, at least we have an NBA draft. The NBA season's next month, starting back all real quick. We got some big trades that's already happened. We're going to talk about those too. But Eric, take it away.
Yeah, so I just want to start off for those of you listeners, we have a group message that we text pretty much every week, and we tell each other coming up with our topics and ideas. So I was like, I'm going to go over the NBA 2020 draft. It's Wednesday night. It'll be perfect because we do Tuesday recordings, and the free agent market opens Friday. It's going to be great. And then I see Monday morning Chris Paul gets traded because the free agent market opened yesterday. So we do the facts, guys. As you know, we do the facts. So yeah, the free agent market opened yesterday, not Friday. But let's go over the draft first. It will take place tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. The number one pick will be from the Minnesota Timberwolves, I believe. It will be this guy, Anthony Edwards, who played at Georgia. There's a sports science company called P3 based out of Santa Barbara. They just announced that from their measurements, he produced the most force via accelerations of any athlete they've ever measured. They almost measure the whole league of athletes, or pretty much anyone they can get their hands on. Probably didn't do LeBron and other guys, but they do have some other big name NBA guys, the Westbrooks and guys like that. But of all the athletes they measured, he had the highest acceleration forces. In other words, he could be one of the most explosive players off the ball. I think that he'll fit in well with the Timberwolves. They're saying that he could fit in that system with D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns. Number 2 pick goes to the Golden State Warriors, Tradon's favorite basketball team, apparently. I think they will draft, drumroll, LaMelo Ball from Chino Hills. He didn't go to college. He was playing in the Latvian Pro League. But I think he's going to go to the Warriors. He had a private workout with him. And actually, they were set on that dude, James Wiseman, who's a big man center, because they need a center as well. But apparently, he impressed a lot of the players, including the front office as well. Supposed to be the best ball player, no pun intended, but he's got the most versatile set of skills of the 3 ball brothers. I mean, one of them is terrible. He's not in the league. The other one is not that good. He got traded from the Lakers. So hopefully this guy does well. I just think his dad just needs to keep his fucking mouth shut, let him play, because that was an issue with Lonzo. But, hey, if he goes to the Warriors, I'd love for his dad to just speak all the time and just ruin their organization. That'd be great, too.
So I think you're wrong about that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure James Wiseman is going to go to Golden State. I don't get why the Warriors would pick up a point guard when you don't need a point guard. You
don't need him.
They have this guy, Steph Curry.
But you need a center. And how are you going to pass up the best center?
They'll just turn Draymond into a center, dude. Screw the Warriors. Fuck them.
Yeah, Draymond's on his way out of there, by the way. It's going to be Steph
he might be.
and Clay, and those two are going to run it. You don't need another point guard. You don't need another ball-handling small guy. You need somebody who can rebound for all the missed shots.
True.
And James Wiseman compares to Andre.
That's true. I feel though, they may have some tricks up their sleeve. They could draft LaMelo Ball and trade him for a big guy to another team that needs a point guard like him.
You would want to draft somebody low for salary cap reasons. You draft somebody low and then trade that person for somebody with a high salary cap number.
NBA teams do that all the time.
Possible.
Yeah, true. Or let's play devil's advocate. I think that the Warriors are one of the best organizations of developing guys. They drafted Curry, Klay Thompson, and developed 3 of them. They could do that with LaMelo Ball. Draft him, have Steph Curry mentor him, develop him. But like you said,
and then when is he going to play? Because Steph Curry
as soon as possible
with the Warriors. He's not going anywhere else, man.
He's going to play once everywhere opens back up and the world is normal again. So never. Let's go to the 3rd pick, Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte Hornets, to me, I think they're going to pick James Wiseman. We just talked about him. He played at Memphis, big man. I think he'd be kind of a good fit with that guy Terry Rozier, aka Scary Terry. Who else do the Hornets even have? I don't know. You don't see a lot of them. They don't have a lot of attention. They kind of been that team. They're like the Philly Flyers of hockey before they made the playoffs this year. Like they've been on the playoff bubble, like missing the playoffs by a game or two the last few seasons. They can use a spark. Maybe they draft this dude Wiseman, use him as trade bait with another team that needs a big man like the Warriors. Who knows? And they can get maybe I don't know, who knows, Draymond Green to the Hornets. You might have heard it here first. I don't know if that helps them or not. Maybe it makes them worse. Let's go to pick number 4, Chicago Bulls. I'm going to get crazy here. I think they're going to draft this dude, Killian Hayes. He's from the German Pro League. He's a lefty point guard. Yeah, James, it's okay. Let me explain him. He's a lefty point guard, swift and crafty, and he has those signs of a true point guard. And the big giveaway factor, he doesn't have a good jump shot, so he's more of a pass-first point guard. I think with the Bulls, that'll fit very well with that rising superstar Zach LaVine, who fucking made the Clippers look like a joke last year. He was one of the many guys, but I think he'd be a good piece to that team. The Bulls, I mean, this is just me being crazy, looking for, an outlier pick that no one thinks is going to happen. So we'll see what happens there. And then I'm going to go the number 5 pick, which is the Cleveland Cavs. Will pick Isaac Okoro, this dude from Auburn, a power forward, not the best offensive player, but he is an elite defender. The Cavs definitely need elite defense. They need everything, but they have the point guard. I don't remember his fucking name. It's a guy they drafted.
Colin Sexton.
Yes, Sexton. He's a pretty solid player. He's coming into his own, good point guard offensively. They need some defense around him. Apparently this guy has one of the biggest wingspans in the draft, but he is also just a solid foundation of defense that they could use, maybe make them not be a doormat team anymore. So I don't want to bore you guys just numbering off all these picks with people we don't even know and know what's going to happen. Let's get to the trades. This is the juicy stuff. First, right off the bat, Tyler, Dennis Schroeder, whatever the fuck. He's a good player, the guy with the crazy hair. He just got shipped to the Lakers. The Lakers traded a first-round pick to OKC in exchange with Schroeder. It just shows the Lakers don't like to develop people, but I guess they don't have to. They won this year, except for Caruso. He's like the only guy they've developed in a while. Rumor has it Kuzma is going to be shipped away because Schroeder's basically a better version of him. What's your take on that?
Yeah, Lakers can't draft for shit, so they're a lot better at trading and signing free agents. That just kind of seems the way that they've developed their championship teams, more based on that. Occasionally they'll have a good draft pick here and there that they develop and it comes to their system, but so trading away draft picks, I'm not so worried about. I do like Schroeder. I think he's a very good point guard, especially with the rumors that Rajon Rondo might be walking after this season. But getting rid of Danny Green a little bit kind of bothers me. I think Danny Green's a much better defender than Schroeder, so I think we lost that on defense. And I think the biggest reason why the Lakers won this year was because of their defense. So hopefully they can find some kind of replacement, or
I thought you were going to say Danny Green.
Can come up with some defense to make up for that. But I overall, I think this was a decent trade. Wasn't horrible, but wasn't great. So hopefully it works out.
Schroeder's a solid 6-man. I think he'll fit in pretty well with the Lakers. He's going to be their 6-man right off the bench, I believe. And he was up for 6-man of the year this year. He had done very well with OKC, keeping them in games. So I think it's a pretty good trade. And I agree with you. They're not the biggest drafters, so trading away a first-round pick isn't that big to them.
Yeah.
James, Chris Paul goes to the Phoenix Suns. Now is going to be playing and mentoring the already superstar Devin Booker. You covered OKC in the playoffs. You had a lot of good info on them, good things to say about CP. Does he now make the Suns a playoff squad and a doormat of Western Conference?
100% yes, definitely. You guys remember like our last NBA thing? And I was like, oh yeah, CP3 could get traded. And Alex is like, no way. He's never gonna get traded. He brought that team back. CP3 got traded. And now he's gonna do the same exact thing, but with a better squad. Devin
Yeah.
Booker, like you said, is a superstar. And they also have DeAndre Ayton. He was a first round pick. I think he was a top 3 pick 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. But they're gonna get huge dividends from CP3. He's a good leader. He can distribute the ball well. Devin Booker's not going to have to handle the ball. He can just spot up and shoot it. And DeAndre Ayton can run that pick and roll to perfection. This Suns team is going to compete for maybe the 4 seed in the West. I'm kind of leaving 1 through 3 to the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Warriors. But that 4 seed is up for grabs, and maybe the Suns might take it.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be way better. They are like in the bubble. I think they were undefeated. They still didn't squeeze in the playoff spot, but Booker's never been in the playoffs. He probably will make the playoffs this year. Chris Paul, Alex, when James did say that, yeah, I think Alex may have said no because we were saying he's going to go to the Bucks maybe,
Yeah,
which would have been crazy.
Well, the Bucks did get somebody too. They got Drew Holiday.
Yeah, they did. We're going to get to that right now. Breaking news, Alex. I wanted to ask you, Drew Holiday and the Serbian assassin Bogdan Bogdanovic, what a name, goes to the Bucks. You can tell they're doing whatever they can to keep Giannis there. Give him another chance because this is the last year of his contract. They're trying to get him to do anything to keep this guy there, get him a championship. Do you think this helps him stay, or does he need more guys?
I mean, you've got to believe this would help him stay. Bogdanovic he's a nasty shooter. That's not what Giannis is. That's not his skill. His skill set is being a giant freak of nature who can just dunk on literally anyone. He's probably the most athletic person in the NBA other than maybe LeBron. And with Drew Holiday, that's a legit point guard, which means, Giannis the offense doesn't have to run through him anymore. Holiday can bring the ball up. The offense will run through Holiday. He will pass it. They still got Chris Middleton, who's an all-star. That Bucks team, that starting 5 is really, really nasty. We talked about it. I think we talked about it last week, how they kind of remind us of like James Harden's Rockets or like Lamar Jackson's Ravens. Like they still need to prove it. And if their depth, if they, sign some vets to some depth places, that Bucks team, they might be the pick to win it all right now.
Yeah, they're definitely a good team, and I feel like those guys are going to contribute some good, nice role players. And I agree with what you said. I think, it's like the Nets if the Nets get Harden, it's like all of a sudden you have these 3 superstars. Do they work together well? I guess Harden played with Durant. But, I feel like the Bogdanovic and Drew Holidays are a better fit to the Bucks. Like, make them just a team that is going to just win by teamwork, win through the system. Tradon, Anthony Davis is still a free agent, I believe. Do the Lakers lock him in before the weekend, or does he chase the money now that he's won a championship?
That's tough. I mean, I would think that given the fact that everything that happened this past year in LA, it'd be hard to walk away from getting another chance at that. It sounds like LA is really good at finding talent and signing it, as opposed to, as you guys mentioned earlier, as opposed to drafting and developing within. And it's clear. I mean, they took the fairly handedly this last time around. So I don't think that I don't think that it'd be stupid for him not to look at that and say, you know what, maybe it's time for another shot, even if it means taking a little bit of a pay cut.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to see in the next few days, the NBA world's going to go crazy, especially with the draft tomorrow. But I think the Lakers still got some tricks up the sleeve to get a couple more guys to really keep him there, or maybe get somebody else that is going to like solidify him staying. Schroeder's a good pickup. I think Kuzma goes and they get someone else. Maybe they ship off a couple more guys just to, get another guy around Anthony Davis and LeBron. I mean, it's not like they really need anything else. They fucking want it. But Other trade rumors. Anyone want to chime in? Westbrook possibly to the Clippers. I guess I'll chime in first. That's a possibility. I don't really know how that would work, but if he goes to the Clippers, he's probably going to be the most hated player in the league because the way he plays already, like people that don't have him on their team pretty much don't like him already. And nobody likes the Clippers. And if he goes to the Clippers, then they're really not going to like him. But who knows? Maybe it's something that helps out. I don't know. James, do you think that fits or is that just bogus?
I think it's bogus. Westbrook has come out and said that he wants to play like he did at OKC, meaning he's a primary ball handler, scorer, and rebounder. If he goes to the Clippers, that's not going to happen. And we've seen the PG Westbrook experiment happen in OKC. It did not work. So why would he go back to that same thing and add Kawhi, who's going to have the ball probably more than he is? It's not good chemistry wise, not good systematically, not good overall.
Another place he could go, possibly the 76ers under Doc Rivers, maybe like a Simmons Westbrook swap. Alex, what do you think about that? Simmons to the Rockets, would that help them at all?
If Harden stays and Simmons is there, I don't understand how that would work at all. They're both primary ball handlers. I mean, Simmons can't shoot, which is all the Rockets do, so I don't understand how that would work. I could see the Westbrook and Embiid working much better than the Westbrook Kawhi PG situation in LA. Embiid doesn't need – he's not going to be the guy that brings the ball up the court. He's not – the offense is not going to – he's not going to set up every play. But Westbrook and Embiid could work really well together. It just all depends on how much effort Embiid wants to put in because Russell Westbrook's going to put in 150% every single game. And Embiid, I don't think, has really proven that. I mean, if I was Westbrook, I'd rather go to Philly than to the Clippers. You get to play in a weaker conference. The East is nothing compared to the West. The Philly's pretty much already guaranteed a playoff spot. So I could see that working.
Yeah. One thing, though, Simmons, that you mentioned, he can't shoot, but he is one of the best defenders for his position. So him going to the Rockets, they're pretty terrible at defense. They don't have your favorite coach, D'Antoni, anymore either, who just doesn't believe in defense. So, maybe if Harden were to stay, but let's just cut to that. Speaking of Harden, he turned down $50 million a year for the next 2 years. So, in other words, he probably won't stay at the Rockets. And he said today he wants to go to either the Nets or the Sixers. So a Harden Embiid situation, I'd actually kind of more agree with you with the Westbrook Embiid because Embiid doesn't give his full effort and Westbrook gives more than a full effort. Maybe that evens out with each other. But to the Nets, would that work, Tyler? Or is that just like too many superstars, too many ball hogs?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think, you've seen these super teams being built in terms of winning championships. A lot of times they seem to work. Occasionally they do not. Harden, Durant, Irving, certainly an interesting combination there. I think it could be pretty lethal if they do decide to do that. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, and then we were talking about Giannis earlier. I did actually hear today it could be a possibility the Heat have a lot of cap space open. I think the NBA would just be heated, no pun intended, to see Giannis go to the Heat.
Oh, shit, that was pun intended.
Actually, it kind of just came up off of the tip of the tongue and the brain and everything. But, yeah, pun was totally intended there. It would be like a Durant going to the Warriors after they lose to them in a series, like Giannis going to the Heat after he loses them in a series. But there's a possibility Giannis goes to the Warriors too. Tradon, your favorite team, the Warriors. Could they use a guy like Giannis? I would believe yes would be the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I would be pretty happy about that. I mean, I've joked around multiple times with Kylie about that because she's huge. Obviously, they're huge Warriors fans, and I always say, hey, next year Be honest to the Warriors. Of course, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, so I'm probably talking out my ass. But I have heard a little bit of rumors that it could be the case, but that's also probably the writers over at the Warriors side just hoping, wishful thinking.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be fun, but everyone would hate him instantly. So that I don't know if I want to see him go through that.
Tampering. So you're gonna tamper him up there? Is that
Yeah, for sure. But
yeah.
we see what happens to players who do that, and he'd be enemy number one to everybody in this podcast except me. So I don't really, I don't want to see him go through that because he's a good guy.
There's probably thousands more free agents that I haven't covered. Let's go back to Simmons real fast. Another rumor, he could go either Celtics or the Clippers. Him going to the Clippers might be a better fit because PG and Kawhi like to shoot the ball and he doesn't, and he plays defense. We'll see, though. Ty Lue's system is probably going to be a little different than Doc Rivers' system. Him on the Celtics, I don't know. I can't really see that happening. I feel like he's just another version of Tatum that can't shoot and is just not as good. One other guy I got, Gallinari, a possibility to the Mavericks, just to make them an all-Euro team with Porzingis, Gallinari, Doncic, Boban. James, you think Gallinari, here's another OKC guy. Does he fit in well with all those Euros at Mavericks?
I think he does because he's like a Dirk Nowitzki type player. But what I honestly think, I think he's going to go to the Bucks. He wants to play for a contender again. He's played a ton of years and made money. Will probably take the veterans minimum, maybe a little bit more than that, and play for somebody who could win now. I'm not saying that the Mavericks can't win now, but the Bucks certainly have an easier road to get to the championship.
Yeah, that's actually a great take right there. I didn't even think about that. It'd be interesting to see, once all these trades happen, we got to throw them up on our Instagram if we're right about any of them. We fucking predicted this the day before the draft. But, yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. That's pretty much all I got. And a lot of rumors, a lot of things about to happen. The NBA world is about to go crazy. It's already back. It's been 2 months, and it's already back.
Yeah, it's crazy how I feel like we're still celebrating the Lakers winning, and the season's about a month away. Last NBA season or off season was crazy. It felt like half the league changed teams. So it was crazy. So there's always a lot going on in the NBA. So thank you, Eric, for that. When we come back, James is going to help you out with your fantasy team and tell you who to pick up this week for the NFL. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. We are talking fantasy football as we head into week 11 of the NFL season. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty. Some teams are pulling ahead in our league. Some teams it's getting really close. Alex is no longer the bottom feeder, or he's now sharing the bottom feeder with James.
Fuck yeah, baby.
Crazy. James, so give us an update on our league and tell us who everyone should pick up this week.
Okay. Fantasy update. Tyler is in first.
Woo!
Eric is in second. Tradon is tied for seventh. And me and Alex are tied for last place.
Yeah, baby. 2-game win streak. Let's do this.
But I swear to God, I know what I'm talking about because in my other 5 leagues, I am in first. So just this league, I don't know what's going on. So this podcast is basically for, 60% of our listeners because there's only probably 6 out of 10 of you guys who are going to make the playoffs. Me and Alex are not at all. So I'm just trying not to be last place at this point. Teams on bye this week are the 49ers. Thank God, because we have Friendsgiving, so I don't have to be pissed off on Sunday. The Giants, the Bears, and the Bills. Starting off with QB, my pick is Alex Smith, future comeback player of the year from Washington. He's owned in 3.6 leagues. In week 10, he had 16 points. Against the Lions, he went 38 for 55 for 390 yards. That's a lot of yards. He's legitimately the only QB in Washington right now. He was a fantastic QB, a winning QB before injuries derailed his career. He had that gnarly open fracture of his leg that flopped open, got an infection. They almost had to cut off his leg. He almost lost his life. But now he's playing football again. So if you guys haven't seen that picture of what his leg looked like, you guys should look it up on Twitter or on Google. Just put Alex Smith's leg and be prepared because it's pretty gruesome. He lost a lot of muscle, and they took some skin out of his hamstring or something to make up for the lost skin in his leg. There's also an E60 you guys should watch on Alex Smith. It's great stuff. Anyway, back to fantasy stuff. He's a very good QB, and the fact that he broke his leg doesn't really mean too much because his skill is based on his mental processing and accuracy, not on his legs. He's never been a running QB, he's been a pocket QB. Interceptions in a season since 2010. Like I said, very accurate. 390 yards is groundbreaking. He had the most passing yards than any QB in Week 10. The TDs will come. There's going to be a lot of positive regression. It's very rare you throw over 300 yards and not get a touchdown. So those numbers will come in fantasy. It'll help a lot. Over the last 2 weeks, he has 715 passing yards. Up next, they play the Bengals. This is a team that's given up 21 pass TDs on the year, and that includes Week 7 when Baker Mayfield had 5 touchdowns.
The GOAT.
Baker Mayfield's trash.
Trey,
He had 5 touchdowns on his team.
Deep breaths, buddy.
Eric, Ryan Tannehill underperformed for you yet again. So what do you think about Alex Smith?
So I got a quick little story. My first ever NFL game was Niners-Rams at Candlestick. Alex Smith ended up getting hurt that game with concussion. Kaepernick was given on for his first game. One of my current bosses now, Tommy, was an AT with the Niners that year, running out on the field when Alex Smith got hurt. Has nothing to do with really what we're talking about, but I just thought I would mention it because we're talking about Alex Smith. I will not pick him up. I do love his story and his return to the NFL. They said he could probably never play again, but he's proven everybody wrong with that. I'm still going to put my faith in Tannehill. I'm still somehow pulling through, finding ways to win. I had Tannehill in the Colts D last week. It basically evened out because they played each other. But I think Alex Smith, he did good last week. He will do good again this week against the Bengals. I don't know how much longer that's going to last. I feel like his confidence really isn't there, but I hope, the best for him. But I will not be picking him up. They don't really have weapons besides their running back, I believe, on the Washington football team.
Terry McLaurin, dude. An elite talent at wide receiver.
Okay,
how are you not going to say that?
Him. They have a weapon. But yeah, I mean, is he going to throw to him every time? Probably, but I'm just not going to pick him up.
Alex Smith is currently QB number 40 after only appearing in 3 games and starting in 1. Given his recent production, do you think he ends up as a top 25 QB at the end of the season?
No, I don't think so. Daniel Jones, man, he's the new quarterback of that division. He's going off, fastest guy in the league. So, I don't know. I just don't think it's going to happen with Alex Smith.
Okay, that's fair. Moving on to running back. You got Salvon Ahmed from Miami. He's owned in 7% of leagues. In Week 10, he had 16 points. Against the Chargers, he had 21 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. He also added 1 reception for 5 yards. So, Matt Breida and Myles Gaskin is on IR, and Jordan Howard was just released because of Ahmed's stellar production. He's a true workhorse back of the Dolphins because of his 21 carries, and no other back really touched the field. He plays within the system, and he fits the kind of running back that Brian Flores wants, and that's one that can get outside the tackles, make one cut, and start running downfield. He can also catch the ball really well and is a really great route runner. He's not the Derrick Henry type that is just downfield no matter what in between the tackles. He's small, but he's nifty, and he's agile. The way the Dolphins defense is playing right now, it lends itself to a lot of positive game scripts where the Dolphins are leading, so there's more running opportunities to run out the clock. Therefore, more times for Salvon Ahmed to be on the field. Up next, they play the Denver Broncos, and that's a defense that's been ravaged by injuries. Last week alone, Josh Jacobs and Devontae Booker had 2 touchdowns each, and they both play for the Raiders. So that's a pretty soft defense. Salvon Ahmed scored 1 touchdown first in his career, but he's hungry for more. Tyler, you should have fallen in love with all the Dolphins running backs and are in the midst of Spaghetti-Gate 2020. Mm-hmm. What does your gut tell you about Salvon Ahmed?
Another Dolphins running back that I like a lot, especially this week's matchup, Week 11. Past that, I'm not sure if he's a great long-term option because Myles Gaskin is supposed to come back around Week 12. Of course, that can change. I think when Gaskin comes back, he's still going to get the majority of the touches there with the Dolphins. But for Ahmed in this week 11 matchup, like him a lot. I think he's a great pickup. A lot of times with these running backs and wide receivers, you're looking for guys to pick up for guys on bye, some guys that are getting hurt. So Ahmed, I think, is a great pickup. So if you're looking for running back to fill in for bye, pick him up. But like I said, I think long term, I don't know if he is the best choice.
He was the number 14 scoring running back in Week 10. Is to push the top 10 running back this week against the Broncos.
I think so. I like this matchup a lot. I think he's taken this opportunity and run with it. I think he's feeling good, playing well. Like you said, against a Broncos defense, I think that will give up some rushing yards. I think he can be in top 10 for sure.
If you were to predict how many points he scored, what would it be?
I'm gonna go with 18.2.
Does that include any touchdowns?
1 touchdown.
Sounds like a good prediction to me. Thank you, Tyler.
Got it.
Moving on to wide receivers, we have Michael Pittman Jr. from Indiana. He's owned in 5% of leagues right now. In Week 10, he had 19.2 points. Against the Titans, he had 7 receptions on 8 targets for 101 yards and 1 carry for 21 yards. He has been active in only 6 games this year. He went on IR for a little bit because he had compartment syndrome in his legs, meaning they basically had to cut his leg open because it swelled up to the point where blood and nerves and stuff were dying. Still pretty serious, but now he's out and playing, and he's doing really well. He's shown to be one of Phil's favorite targets. He's had 15 targets in the last 2 weeks. He had 28 targets in 6 games total. He's a big-bodied, sure-handed wide receiver who fights for the catch, which is great because Philip Rivers likes to throw to the other team. The Colts like him enough to make specific plays for him. As you saw, he had a 21-yard reverse sweep in the second half. Wide receivers don't typically run the ball, but if your play caller makes running plays for you as a wide receiver, you're a playmaker and they want to get to the ball any way they can. So therefore, he's probably going to be a big part of this offense for years to come. Up next, they play Green Bay. This is going to be a very high-scoring game. The over-under is set at 51.5, which means there's going to be a lot more passing opportunities for Michael Pittman to catch the ball. Alex, as the fight not to be in last place continues, what do you think of Michael Pittman Jr.?
Yeah, 2-game winning streak. I'm going to keep that rolling, Tradon. I'll see you on Sunday, my man. Michael Pittman Jr. So if you're the unfortunate person that drafted T.Y. Hilton, Tradon.
Beer mile.
And you are looking for a replacement, he is a rookie. You do have to bank on the Philip Rivers going to throw at least 1 to 5 picks. 5K, not 5, obviously. He's an interesting pickup. Like you said, the over-under on this game is what, 51?
51.5, correct.
51.5. So, we're expecting a lot of points to be scored during this game. The Packers generally don't give up too many points to wide receivers in the fantasy games, so they could be a little bit of an issue for you. You're saying that the fact that they're calling rush plays for him, just kind of like the Rams do for Robert Woods, that brings a lot of added value. If they think they're going to run plays specifically for him, go for it. If you're looking to replace someone that's on a bye, if you got Stephon Diggs, the Bills on bye, pick him up, see what happens. I would say max a flex position though.
So do you think he'll outscore Devontae Adams in terms of fantasy points this game? Last week he did. Devontae Adams had 18.6 while Michael Pittman had 19.2.
Okay, well that's a very small margin. And Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams, so no.
Okay. Even though they have Allen Lazard back, so now there's targets that go all the way around.
Yeah, he's still Devontae Adams, so no.
Okay. That's a good take. I wonder if he does.
You know what? You text me Sunday evening and we can talk about it.
Sounds good. If I don't need to make some money back somehow.
Sure, $5.
$5 sounds good. Cool.
Yeah.
Make it happen. Moving on to tight end. Tight end's always a tough position, but I'm going to go with Logan Thomas again from Washington. He's owned in 20.2% of leagues. In week 10, he had 10.6 points, which was, I think, the 5th highest score for a tight end. The highest was 13. Miserable. Against the Lions, he had 4 receptions on 6 targets for 66 yards. He has plenty of opportunity. He has the 3rd most targets on the team with 52. And it's like not even close because the 4th most is Antonio Gibson with 30. So he has 22 more targets than the next person. It's crazy. Alex Smith is very accurate, but he doesn't throw it very long. So he likes to throw it short, which means tight ends and running backs will typically get that because tight ends run shorter routes. Next, and I really, really like the Alex Smith and Logan Thomas stack going into this next week just because it's against the Bulls. And those two are probably going to be priced very low. So DFS, if you're doing DraftKings, think about making that stack happen. Like I said, up next, they play the Bengals, and they typically give up north of 60 yards per game to the tight end position. Tradon, you're still in the hunt for the 4th spot, and Darren Waller disappeared on you last week. And technically, Thomas has outscored Waller by 3 points over the last 4 games. What do you think about adding Logan Thomas?
Intriguing, to say the least. I mean, I think I agree with you on the fact that I think Alex Smith and Logan Thomas are kind of getting a little bit of a groove going. We saw that last few weeks here. I really like that aspect, and really what I like the most is probably the matchup. I mean, you're playing a Bengals team that is giving up the 2nd most to tight ends in the league, so it's a team that is giving up points like it's candy to tight ends. So, and the fact that Logan Thomas is becoming pretty much the best options there. Eric, there's actually options that Alex Smith has. He's intriguing. Whether I would replace him for Waller, it's pretty tough. I think Waller is a better talent. I think, and you're right. He hasn't had the production numbers, but I don't know. I have to stick with my gut and stick with Waller on this one. But I think that Logan Thomas is you can do a lot worse if you're looking for a tight end. And I'm willing to bet that following the end of the week, I don't think Logan Thomas is going to be, we wouldn't be talking about him. I think he's going to be over 50% owned come, Thursday.
Tradon, let's make a bet. Joe Burrows plays better than Alex Smith this weekend. I'll take Burrow.
Okay.
I put Burrow into my lineup, Tradon.
Yeah.
$5.
I think
Yeah,
Burrow's
$5. That's
gonna
fine.
win that.
I'll take Alex Smith on that.
Okay, that's cool. One more question for Tradon over there. So do you think that Logan Thomas's production increases as Smith begins to get more comfortable in that offense and playing football again?
Yeah,
I start throwing downfield more.
Definitely. And like I said, that connection's already starting to sprout, and with Alex Smith gaining a little bit more confidence as the weeks go by, coming off of over 300-yard week. I mean, that's just gonna bode well for him. He's a high quality red zone target. Like you said, the touchdowns are gonna come. And he plays 86% of his team snaps in the last bit here, so he's on the field a lot. He's going to be targeted a lot. I think, like I said, I think that it's going to bode well for him, and Alex Smith is only going to trend up along with him.
All right. Thank you for that, Tradon. So last but not least, we're going to go around the clock here and see what the guys have to think about their favorite wire picks. Tyler, let's start with you.
Yeah, an interesting one I got here for you guys. Rex Burkhead, running back for the New England Patriots. Kind of a boomer bust guy. Not really know what you're going to get. But if you're desperate and trying to find somebody, 22nd ranked running back, owning 32% of leagues. Week 11 matchup against the Texans. Could be a guy that gets you a lot of points. He had 22 points last week. So never know.
Eric?
This might sound bogus, but I'm gonna go with Jameis Winston. It's his first game playing as a starter with the Saints. Who knows? He might throw a couple picks, but he might throw like 6 touchdowns also, or like run a couple in. Maybe he throws like 1 pick. I'm gonna say he gets 3 TDs, 1 pick. Jameis Winston.
Alex?
I'm talking about our boy the Dragon, Jalen Reagor. He's back. We talked about him. I don't know, however many weeks ago that was. I'm losing track of time here, but he's back. We were high on him at the preseason. He's only owned in like 30% of leagues or something. Go get him if you need a wide receiver.
And Tradon.
I'm actually going to take yourself on a mid. It's not very often that you get the opportunity to pick up a starting running back on the waiver wire. Pick him up.
Thank you. And that concludes my segment. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, James. Great as always. Really excited for the Beer Mile Watch 2020. James and Alex, excited to see how that pans out. When we come back, we're going to talk about the best and the worst uniforms in sports. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. If you want to play good, you got to look good. That's the rule. So we're going to talk about sports uniforms here. There's been a lot of them throughout history. Some have been great. Some are timeless. Some are new and fresh. And then you got everything in between. Some were a little bit horrible. Some of them still are. So, Alex, take us away with our uniform segment.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. So I did this kind of in honor of the NHL releasing these retro jerseys for this upcoming season. I was going to talk to Tradon first because he's our NHL guy, but he just yelled at us when we were off air, and now I kind of don't want to.
Fair enough.
No, I'm just kidding. So what I asked the boys to do is pick a current jersey that they really like, a current jersey that they don't like, and then, talk about some other retro jerseys that they maybe dislike or also, want to bring back into the fold. The one rule I had, I hope they follow this, is that they weren't allowed to pick their favorite team. So, damn it, James, were you not
kidding.
attention?
I'm kidding, bro. I'm just joking.
Reading is hard, so I get it. So, Tradon, because this is in honor of the NHL, please don't yell at us. But why don't you start and tell us what you got?
Well, the best jersey, it's tough, but I think the most classic best jersey would have to be the Chicago Blackhawks.
No,
they're
really
really
to say that. No,
as much as I hate them, the logo is awesome. It's timeless. They haven't changed much because they don't need to change much. Their original 6 team, and they haven't, and they've had the same jerseys ever since. And you ask anybody, you put out a poll, for most NHL fans, they're going to say the Chicago Blackhawks are one of the best jerseys in the league. The worst jersey in the league, by far, is the current Anaheim Ducks jersey. It is absolutely atrocious. It is terrible colors, terrible logo. They need to completely redesign everything. And that they need to happen. That needs to happen like yesterday.
Okay.
Can I chime in on an NHL jersey?
Yeah, please do, Eric.
The Blackhawks. Their logo's like similar to the old Redskins. So what if they called them the Chicago hockey team, Tradon? And also the retro Coyotes jersey.
Yes, the Kachinas are.
Oh, those
primo.
Are fire right
those
there.
Are fire.
They're so fire. Actually, I'll say this.
Yeah, me too.
My favorite jerseys of all time is the 90s and early 2000s jerseys from the Ducks, the Coyotes, and the Sabres. Those particular jerseys are just, I wish they'd bring them back. They need to bring them back. Ducks fans, I know I like your new retro jersey. Everyone else hates them. Well,
nope, they are the worst retro jersey.
I do wish.
Yeah, the Sharks though. Really
the Sharks one's so clean.
The Sharks I actually kind of like the Sharks. I hate the Sharks.
Oh, dude, it's the best of them all. It's the best of them
No,
all.
it's the worst.
Settle down there, child.
No, it's not.
Name a better one.
All of them over the Sharks.
The best one is the Whalers one.
Okay.
Let's
okay.
go with that one.
Yeah.
Go on.
I'll give you that.
I like the Sabres one, too.
I'll give you that.
That one's dope.
Okay, wow. This got way more heated than I was intending it to get, and I'm kind of digging it.
Something I do wish before I end. Something I do wish the Pittsburgh Penguins would do is bring back their blue jerseys. They had their original jerseys that had they were that light blue. They brought them back for the very first Winter Classic, and I think they need to bring that back. I don't really like the yellow and black. I love the blue though. It's so nice.
Okay. We were talking before Tradon was a little late, everyone, just so you know. We were talking about how we do like how Pittsburgh, all their sports teams are black and yellow. So we might have to kind of stick with that. So I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
Fair enough.
We're gonna go in a totally other direction real quick here. And in honor of the Masters, and because there's 5 of us and there's 4 major sports, I'm going to Eric because he's our golf guy. We're going to talk. I don't know how you want to do this, Eric. I'm going to let you kind of run it, but I was thinking like best or worst style on the PGA
thinking.
Tour. But take it away. Let me hear what you got.
Did you see the thing I sent you guys on Instagram? It was like a concept like jersey for golf. It looked terrible. It looked like soccer.
That looked really bad. Yeah.
Never.
It looked really bad, but I wanted to bring it up. But yeah, I'm glad we all agree. The best uniforms, in my opinion, that I saw, biased, Puma. I like the Puma golf stuff, specifically Ricky Fowler, of course. He also has that Sunday orange outfit. You didn't really see him play on Sunday because he did bad, but he made the cut. They got a bunch of new crazy designs. They're kind of just getting weird with it, but I like it. Some floral-looking polos, pineapples, different colors like light green, pink, sky blue. Their pants, I gotta say, are phenomenal. I've had a pair for like the last 5 years and use them as like work pants and like going out. You can kind of get away with it. Super comfortable. You could run a beer mile in them if you wanted. They got some nice golf shoes as well. They're coming out with like these retro looking ones. They already have actually. They look nice because, we had to talk retro here. The knock on Puma is that DeChambeau hat that he wears. It's like that painter's hat, whatever the fuck it's called. It's like a Peaky Blinders hat.
Yeah.
What's it called?
A beret.
That's not a beret. No.
It's not a beret. Who the fuck? Tyler, what's wrong with you, man?
I don't know.
It's not a beret.
It's a beret.
A Peaky Blinders hat. That's a great way to describe it.
It's the Peaky Blinders hat.
Like
that's a great
an Irish
show.
cap or something.
Yeah, it's a
If it's
great
not a
show.
baseball
But the
hat, I don't
hat
know
that
what it is.
DeChambeau wears, not great. The worst golf uniform to me would be Bubba Watson. He wears, if you don't know, look it up. He's got this terrible ping visor that he wears all the time. It's horrible. But he's sponsored by Oakley. Oakley has some good shit, but the ping visor, he's got to get rid of it. And this dude, Dylan Fratelli, who was doing well in the Masters, he's all Oakley. And his outfit was slightly questionable, I must say, also.
Eric, the big debate right now for the past month has been hoodies on the golf course. What is your take?
I would love it.
I do too. Okay, I'm not alone then. I'm not alone.
No,
Hoodies
I
are
think
like
that's
the
great.
most comfortable thing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be a nice hoodie. It doesn't need to be like, LA, Lakers hoodie. Like, fuck that. Like, I don't want any like crazy designs, but a clean hoodie, dude. I don't know. Some people are, some crazy people are like, we need to maintain the integrity of the game, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no.
Nah.
Hoodies are the way to go.
You know what Rory was wearing in one of the random tournaments? I think the Thousand Oaks tournament, Tyler. It was the 3-button hoodie. So it's like a mixture of like Henley looking hoodie, but it was great. They need to bring that in. Get it
Glad
in the mix.
you agree.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the podcast. I don't give a fuck about golf. But that is one of the problems with golf, just like one of the problems with baseball, is they're too stuck in their traditions. And Tradon, I think you can agree with me on this. I'm 100% down for people to wear whatever the fuck they want on the golf course.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I think they need to also allow shorts.
Yeah, just like Tyler said, you look good, you play good. So
Sombreros.
yeah, do whatever you want. Shirt
that'd be
off.
great.
Sun's out, guns out. Do what you got to do.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. So let's go to James next. So football. So you couldn't pick the Niners. I hope you listened.
I did. So I took it a little bit different.
Okay.
I did best and worst current, and then best and worst retros.
Okay, that's fine.
So I'm gonna start with the best. So right now, I think the Atlanta Falcons have the best jerseys.
Wow.
They came out with this new set as of this last year, and it's like the all blacks they have. It's super clean and super sleek. It's like simple, modern, and very minimalistic, and it's easy to match color combos when it's black, white, and red. So the way they're running it right now is really good. I also like the Vikings jerseys mainly because I love the color purple. That's my favorite color, and so I like how it's like they have a cooler purple and gold combo, so it kind of reminds me of the Lakers. So that's always nice. The worst jerseys, I think, is hands down the Browns. Why is the helmet orange? Can somebody tell? They call the Browns and they have an orange helmet. It makes zero sense to me.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I was talking to Tyler. I was like, "Why the fuck, dude? Why is it orange?" And he couldn't tell me. So I guess nobody knows.
Answer.
What makes the color brown? Is it yellow and
Yeah,
orange?
all the colors
something?
together.
All the
Mix 'em
colors
up.
mixed together.
Oh.
I thought that was
Just
black.
a big poop, you know. It's a big poop.
Yep.
Anyway, it's just like their jerseys is just the color, their name, and their number, and has nothing else.
Their city.
Zero substance. It matches their team because their team is a piece of shit. So what was their jerseys?
What is a brown?
Dude,
It's a turd, dude. It's literally a turd. Why do you think?
Baker
Why do you think the
Mayfield.
phrase is "I'm taking the
Baker
Brown to the
Mayfield.
Super Bowl"? Like when you're taking a shit.
Yeah.
It's not
It's the
good.
only time they ever see the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! Good one.
the other jerseys I don't like at all are the Jags, because teal. Why teal is a weird color to mix with a jersey. Mainly because it's white and black and teal. Can you mix that? That's a okay. So those really dark black and some light teal doesn't really work, man.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I like them.
Interesting.
I
I
thought
disagree
the
with
Jag-
you, but interesting.
I kind of like the Jags uniforms.
Yeah, I do too. I don't like
I'm
that
the only
helmet
one.
they had. That helmet they had that was like black in the front and like gold in the back.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
Yeah, that was gross.
That was dumb. But I like their jerseys this year.
That's fair. You
Okay.
know, to each their own.
Yeah.
Okay, James. So these least retro ones. I think you're
worst
very
retro.
strong. You feel really strong about one of these.
Oh yeah, the Steelers. What the fuck, man? Those bumblebee looking prisoner scheme looking pieces of shit. It's like black. It's black and yellow, and it has stripes, and it has big white squares in the middle of it where the numbers are supposed to be.
It's a rugby
And
shirt.
Rugby, man.
We're playing football, not rugby.
Rugby didn't rugby come first though?
I
It's like an
don't
homage.
care. We're playing-
British
talking
shit
about
out of
football,
here.
Soccer.
We won the war.
Oh, that was dumb.
That's the name of the episode, everybody. We won the war.
man. Fucking man.
Oh Lord.
Other retro jerseys I don't really like are the Packers. It's like this old school Calabares color scheme. And it's basically just one solid color with a circle, and it has your number inside the circle. But the best retro jerseys are the Dolphins. I think this is the best football jersey of all time. It's a classic color scheme. It's simple, elegant. It's from the 1970s. It also has the blue face mask along with the helmet. It's classic look overall. It's iconic. If you think of football before 2000s, that's what you think of. And also the Rams old school jerseys, the dark blue with the yellow, easily top 5. The dark blue complements the gold perfectly. And so those are my jersey choices.
Okay, question for the Dolphins one: is that not also teal?
It is blue.
That's teal.
Which is teal.
No black.
It's blue quois.
There is no black.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, you don't like
Okay,
teal and
so
black.
it's the teal and the
Teal and
black.
black
That's the
doesn't-
issue. Okay, so
that's
it's
weird.
not just the color.
Got
teal.
it. Got it.
You know what the worst jersey is the Seahawks, the neon green
No,
with
dude,
like
the Seahawks
white
have such
pants.
clean jerseys, man.
Yeah, I actually don't like that. Okay,
But
if it's
they're
the
like-
color rush,
Yeah.
that's sick. But if it's the neon with the white, that doesn't work.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, the color rush is like kind of a whole other thing. I feel like that's a whole separate podcast. We could talk
Yeah.
about the color
It
rush,
is.
Yeah.
like uniforms.
Yeah.
Okay, Tyler, baseball. Can't pick the Dodgers. Let's hear it.
Yeah, that was a bummer because that is my favorite uniform.
Well, that's why I
but-
fucking made these
Yeah,
rules.
so I didn't make the Dodgers, even though it's a classic. So my favorite, and it's going to be obvious what my favorite color is, my favorite current uniforms in baseball right now are the Toronto Blue Jays. I think they just have a really clean, great look. They brought back that classic Blue Jay logo with kind of a modern, more twist to their uniforms. The powder blue Blue Jay uniforms, I think, look great, which is good because for a while there, the Blue Jays had this kind of really weird, like cartoonish uniform, and it just didn't really work very well. They had a lot of black, and it was just really weird. So they went back to their classic, just blue and white, and it looks really, really good. So I love the Toronto Blue Jays. A couple honorable mentions I want to throw in there. St. Louis Cardinals, classic timeless jersey. Oakland A's, I think just always a clean look. Yankees, again, just classic. And then the Chicago Cubs, I think those are my favorite jerseys overall. The worst to me is the Miami Marlins, which is saying a lot because before they changed it this year to the black and the neon blue and red, those jerseys were awful. They were just these weird orange and teal and like every kind of color from the rainbow just put into a jersey, and it looked horrible. They did a little bit better, but it's still the worst in baseball. Mainly because their logo is black and their hat is black, so you can't see the fucking logo. So, if you can't see the logo, what's the point of having a logo?
Yeah, it's kind of stupid.
And it's kind of crazy because it's like a neon blue, neon red, and it doesn't pop, which is like, what's the point of it if it doesn't pop? So I think the Miami Marlins still have a long way to go to figure out their uniforms. A couple honorable mentions for worst ones. Cleveland Indians. They're going through a weird thing. The Indians in that kind of logo they had is kind of a little controversial. So now they just have these like really random just block letters, and it just looks horrible. The Texas Rangers, I think they're too much blue and too much red at the same time, and it's like pick one, have a primary and a secondary. It just looks really weird to me. Houston Astros, because fuck them, and then the Arizona Diamondbacks uniforms, I think, are just all over the place, and they're just dumb.
Those are fire.
Tyler,
Yeah.
would you now, at risk of getting hit through the screen, Tyler?
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember if you said this as an honorable mention for a good one, but is it just me or are the Yankees like a classic baseball look?
I did throw the Yankees in there as an honorable mention, and yes, I agree that.
Okay, sorry, I didn't remember that,
Yeah,
but they are
good.
classic.
But yes,
I love it.
The Yankees pinstripes is classic. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful jersey. So my throwback that I want to bring back is the Arizona Diamondbacks, the purple and teal uniforms.
That's what I meant.
Early
those were
2000s.
Yeah.
Those were
Is there
great.
black in there though?
There is black in it.
Oh,
So-
James
But
hates him. James hates him.
But it's not like the
main
primary.
color. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
like the
mostly
tertiary.
it's mostly purple with some teal in it a little bit, and it looks great. And they had I don't know why they ever changed it. Now there's just boring red with like this weird neon blue in it, and it's just really weird. They won their World Series in those purple and teal uniforms. I don't know why they ever changed it. They need to bring those back. So yeah, that's what I got for baseball.
Okay. The Kelly green, which is like the light green Oakland A's uniforms that they came out with the last couple of years, fire.
Yeah.
So legit. From the existence of the San Diego Padres to now, they have never had a good jersey. Not one time in their existence. They're all terrible.
I actually kind of like their ones this year.
I kind of like their new ones too. Actually.
Well, I disagree with you. I think they're all terrible.
The
They're
brown
just
ones.
they're just brown.
Those are gross, dude.
No, they're terrible.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
At first, I didn't like them. I thought they were horrible. But the more I see them on the field, actually, I'm kind of growing into it, and I think I like them.
I like them.
The more I see them, I'm like, dude, you're in San Diego. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. You can't come up with a better design than this.
It's
That is
hard to
true.
make brown look good. It really
Exactly why you shouldn't do it. We just talked about how the Browns.
But I
terrible.
think currently, like the way the Padres are doing it, they have the brown, but I think they really emphasize the gold in it.
Yeah.
I feel like I see a lot of the gold pop more than the brown, so I feel like it works okay. Obviously, it's like it's brown, so you can only make brown look so good. But I think of all the Padres uniforms that they've had,
they're pretty bad. Well, okay.
All it takes is piss yellow.
Yeah, so like they're not UPS drivers out there; they're professional baseball players. So I'm out on the Padres uniforms. I'm gonna go real quick through my basketball ones, and you guys feel free to chime in. The best uniform I think is this might be kind of a shock: the Portland Trailblazers. The Blazers across the front, the font is legit. The red and black stripe going down from nipple to dick, perfect little stripe right there. I think the Blazers, they've stayed that way for a long time. I think they're really classic. The differences between home and road are not super crazy. I think their jerseys are legit. The worst jerseys, Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
Back in the day, in the Chris Webber, Mike Bibby, Peja Stojakovic days, they had those sick black jerseys with the big Kings kind of like almost like royal writing on it, and all the fans would show up in black out there in Arco Arena. Those were legit. These new ones, they're close. They needed something else. They're literally just like white jerseys with the purple Kings across the front. Unfortunately, the Sacramento Kings have been the joke of the NBA for like forever. And they need something different. I'm just not a fan of it. They do also have some baby blue ones. I know, Tyler, you're just saying how you're kind of a fan of some of those baby blue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of those. I went to a game last year when they were wearing those, and I was like, are we at like a 10-year-old basketball game? Like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, this is a professional NBA team. And hands down, the retro jersey the NBA needs to bring back is the Vince Carter Toronto Raptors with the full dinosaur on the front. Those are legit. The Raptors jerseys now are like actually not that bad. But like, dude, you're the Raptors and you had a sick ass dinosaur on the front. What do you do? Purple dinosaur, little red back there, fire.
Yeah.
Those Raptors jerseys need to come back. Do you guys got anything on basketball jerseys?
Yes. The best jerseys the best jerseys in the basketball of all time is Toon Squad. Done.
Okay.
Done.
What do you think, Tradon, about I don't know if it's official, but like the
new one?
LeBron ones we've seen?
You want me to start ranting? Because it's fucking awful.
Okay,
it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
We're not even sure if that's like a real – I don't know if that's like a for real thing yet, but I'm curious.
Well, after I saw the jersey, I wanted to rip my eyeballs out. It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
What is it?
They're like half orange and half like teal, light blue colored, I think.
It enrages me.
Okay. I do have, for you, so you guys know, a Bugs Bunny Toon Squad onesie. It's probably one of the best purchases I've ever made in my entire life.
Oh my god!
You may have to run the beer mile.
I might have to I might have to.
The worst.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's a retro, but those Jazz jerseys that are like brown, orange, yellow, fucking variants combined into one. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those are the worst.
Those are terrible.
It's like the Cleveland Browns mixed with the Bumblebee Steelers, mixed with the Diamondbacks' newest jerseys.
Yeah.
All together.
I think what we've decided here is brown is not a color you should be using on your uniform. I think that's what it comes down to.
And don't be called the Browns.
Yeah, don't be called the Browns, or they're just shit jokes. You're just gonna, start plopping out.
Don't have the same color as shit. That's a pretty easy rule to follow.
Let us know if you guys have any other ideas of bad ones. Bye, Tradon.
I just got so rattled. He just got himself out.
But I'm done with apparently is too.
All right, thank you, Alex. That was a fun conversation. When we come back, if Tradon comes back at some point, we're going to be talking about the biggest draft bust in sports history. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome back, Tradon. Dipped out there for a second, but we got him back just in time for his segment. We're talking about the biggest draft busts in sports history. Tradon, take it away.
Yes. So in the NBA draft that's coming up, I wanted to kind of go around, around all the sports that we kind of cover and find out what everyone thinks about, their specific sport that they cover and their the biggest draft pick busts in, the history of that sport. I want to learn a little bit about that because again, I'm largely hockey oriented, so I don't know much about the draft picks of other sports. So this was a learning experience for me. And it's always fun. Well, it's sad and also fun to see, some of the best that were considered to be, game changing or team changing turn out to be completely team changing in the wrong way. It's always fun to kind of go back and see where they are now and see kind of what they did. And I guess we'll start right off the NBA. I believe I asked Alex to take the NBA. That's kind of what he's been kind of following. So, Alex, what in your mind are the biggest pick busts? You can pick one. If you have multiple, go for it. Whatever kind of comes to mind on your end.
Yeah, so I have two.
Okay.
One is a little dated, and one's a little more recent. So that's kind of how I kind of went about it. So we'll start with the older one. Sam Bowie.
Yeah.
He was if you guys don't know, he was picked second overall in 1984, sandwiched in between Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm 90% sure who's number one pick. Am I wrong?
Yes, he was. Yep.
Okay, number one pick, Hakeem Olajuwon. Number three pick, I think you've heard of him. His name is Michael Jordan. He was also picked in front of John Stockton and Charles Barkley, two other Hall of Famers. Coming out of college, Sam was one of the, highly touted prospects. He just could never really stay healthy. You know, if Michael Jordan didn't turn into his airness, you know, the GOAT of all goats, it might be a little bit different. But that one's tough to live down if you picked him, and you could have had Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all time, and you didn't get him.
Yeah.
And then my second one, a little more recent, kind of the same situation. So it's Greg Oden. He was picked number 1 overall, picked one spot ahead of Kevin Durant, who pretty fucking good at basketball. And Greg Oden, same thing. His knees just gave out on him. He only played a grand total of 82 games in his career, where Kevin Durant's won an MVP. He's won 2 finals MVPs, including 2 finals trophies. We can talk about the merits of that later. But Kevin Durant is going to go down as one of the all-time greats. And, you know, the Trailblazers just really screwed the pooch on that one. So those are my 2. But the NBA has quite a few. But those are the 2 that I picked out.
Oh, Call Me Brown, dude.
Yeah, I was about to say him.
Call Me Brown was one of the ones I thought about.
Talk about the epitome of underachievement there, James. That was good. That was a good one. It's kind of funny because, you know, Michael Jordan was a big gambler, and he gambled big on this guy because I think he was like part of the ownership, right, or part of the GM.
Yeah, he handpicked him. MJ handpicked Kwame Brown. Yeah.
Wow, did he strike out on that one?
Yeah.
The dumbass also rejected a $30 million contract when he got into free agency after his 3 rough seasons, and you would have been inked that, and you wouldn't have had to do anything. Like, you haven't done anything already, and you were gonna just be given $30 million. That guy is not only an underachiever, but he's also a fucking idiot. But yeah, I mean, Sambo, I guess Greg Oden kind of reminds me of my pick for the NHL, but we'll get there. You know, it's amazing how scouts go so far into saying this kid's gonna be. You know, he went back all the way to high school, said this kid's going to be generational. He's going to be huge. He's going to change everything. And he completely doesn't. And then you look at another player who got drafted behind him, and he becomes, you know, Kevin Durant, who's one of the best in the league. So that one's always interesting. But I also had Anthony Bennett in there. I don't know if any that's a big
Cleveland Cavaliers guy.
Yeah, I thought about him too.
First overall from Canada.
He's from Canada, yeah.
Did nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
He's on the Clippers G League team last year.
Yeah. So,
after being a number 1 overall pick. That's sad.
Yeah.
Well, James, let's move over to the NFL. What do you got?
I actually have 3.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with a really easy one that's pretty much going to be in everybody's board, and that's Jamarcus Russell. Drafted to the Raiders at number 1 overall in 2007. He's such a piece of shit. He skipped out on his first training camp because he didn't get the contract he wanted. So the Raiders finally was like, fuck it, we're going to give you the contract you want. So he signed a 6-year, $68 million deal with $31.5 million guaranteed. Didn't really pay off. He's known for being lazy and on drugs all the time. Throughout his time with the Raiders, he was all about codeine and purple drink. So he was high. And he didn't like to practice. Did you guys hear about that blank DVD story?
No.
Tell it.
You guys haven't. So the coaching staff didn't think that Jamarcus Russell was learning his plays or using the playbook. So they gave him a DVD, which was blank, and had him watch it over the weekend. And when they came back, the coaching staff asked him if he had watched it and what he had learned. And he just decided to bullshit everything and said he learned 7 different plays when there was nothing on that DVD. So Jamarcus Russell, piece of shit. He played for 3 total seasons, amassed 18 touchdowns to 23 interceptions, and also added 15 fumbles. Dude, for a number 1 overall pick, really did not do anything at all. Next on my list is Trent Richardson. He was drafted to the Browns at number 3 overall in 2012. I personally loved his game at Bama. He looked like one of the best running backs of all time coming out of college, but for some reason it just didn't translate to the NFL. He couldn't really read blocks or read the holes that were given to him. He'd oftentimes run into his blockers as opposed to around his blockers. He had a solid rookie year, but he never got to that level after that season. He played for 4 total years. He had 2,000 yards and 17 touchdowns. which is crazy because I'm pretty sure AP had 2,000 yards in 1 year. But that's that. And then lastly, this is special, near and dear to Eric's heart, but it's going to be Mitch Trubisky. He was drafted to the Bears, number 2 overall, 2017. He was benched for Nick Foles in 2020. He wasn't even active for this last game, which is crazy because Nick Foles did end up getting hurt, but then to put some guy, Tyler Bray, I think, in there because Mitch Trubisky was inactive. He's appeared in 42 games over 4 seasons. The reason why I think he's a bust is kind of the same ideals as Alex. He was picked before Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson's 2 future greats right there, and to pass on those 2 to draft up because the Bears had the 3rd overall pick, but they traded with the Niners with the 2nd overall pick. So they traded up a pick and drafted Mitch Trubisky when you had multiple Pro Bowlers still on the board, and Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson are there. That's just a bad pick. I don't know if Mitch Trubisky will honestly ever play another snap, but that's
wow, that's big.
They were playing Cousins last night too, of all teams.
Yeah, and he dominated.
Yeah, I mean, I had Johnny Manziel. I think that's kind of obvious.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were, when you said 3 and you said everyone's going to have this on their list, I'm like, well, he said that. So at least it's someone new. That's kind of the biggest one that that kind of just comes to mind. I think is he in the CFL now?
I don't think he even made it there. Like, I think he got cut from that.
If you can't make it in the CFL and you're a former, what is he, Heisman trophy? Did he win Heisman?
Yeah.
Yeah, former Heisman can't even make it to the CFL. You're a joke, bud. Sorry to say. All right, Tyler.
Yeah.
Baseball.
Just
give us.
I thought you were gonna keep going there. All right, so baseball's a sport. But yeah, so biggest bust with baseball. My number 1 bust of all time for me, Brian Taylor, first overall pick to the 1991 draft by the New York Yankees, which, first of all, crazy that the Yankees ever have a number 1 overall pick. That's astounding to me. But there you go, 1991. He was considered one of the best high school prospects of all time. MLB super agent Scott Boras, to this day, still believes he was the best high school prospect he's ever seen. Signed him to a $1.2 million contract, which at the time was a record for a high school prospect. Fuck ton of money for a high schooler. His first 2 seasons, the minors were very good. He made it all the way to Double-A. Looked pretty promising, but in the off season, after his 2nd season in the minors, got into a fight in a bar, dislocated his shoulder, and was never the same after that. He never saw big league time and retired in 2000. So just a waste of talent, a waste of a potentially amazing career, just because he got drunk and fucked up his shoulder. So that's just a real shame there. My honorable mention is Danny Goodwin. This dude was drafted number 1 overall twice. First by the White Sox, declined and went to college and played in college, and then was drafted number 1 overall by the Angels. And this dude was great in the minor leagues and looked amazing in his minor league career, a .313 average with 129 home runs. But for whatever reason, it could not translate to the big leagues. He only played 6 MLB seasons, was never a everyday starter, and he accumulated a total WAR, we talked about this last week, of negative 1.7.
It's pretty rough.
Oh. I mean, these stories are just amazing to me. I mean, do you kick the scout for not figuring it out, or I mean, is it really that hard to pick talent? And I tend to lead to the latter. I think it's insanely hard to pick talent. Especially nowadays when there's so much of it. You just don't know what you're going to get. Especially in some of these cases, it's individuals who maybe were not so great in the locker room as well, which kind of led to some attitude issues. And I think James said there was, one of yours, you just said there was a piece of shit that just didn't want to play. And that just, it's toxic for a locker room. Well, finishing it up, Eric, take us through the NHL. Let me see if we have the same ones in mind.
Yeah, I didn't know we were doing more than one, but I also.
Well, if you have one, that's fine.
Yeah, I got a big one for you. You probably have it on your list.
Oh, it's the number one. I know it's the number
Drafted
one.
by the Oilers in 2016, Jesse Pujärvi.
Okay. Did not
Actually,
expect
Oilers,
that, but
the Oilers
okay.
have a bunch. But yeah, this dude Pujärvi.
It's Pujärvi, but okay.
Pujärvi he scored his first goal with the Oilers in his first game. Tradon was probably so hyped on him. So hyped that he was sent down to the AHL, the Always Hungry League, 28 games later. Because he didn't do anything for 28 games after that. Jack shit, in other words. Since then, he's still been getting paid by the Oilers. Held out on his contract last year, demanding more money. So what did the Oilers do? They paid him more money this year. $2.35 million 2-year contract, hoping for the best. He hasn't done anything for the Oilers and has been on the Bakersfield Condors pretty much ever since 2016. Two other notable mentions, the New Jersey Devils, 2017, Nico Hischier. Not a good player. Not a good player, Tradon.
I don't know.
Not a first-round draft pick.
Okay.
He's going to be a bust. My other pick, this is like a future prediction, Jack Hughes.
Oh, my.
By the Devils. Possible bust because look at his brother on Quinn Hughes on the Canucks. Very, very good. Already showing signs of just being solid D-man for many years to come. Jack Hughes, I give him one more year. We'll see how he does. Who's the other Oiler guy, Tradon? I know.
Well, first of all, I want to rebuttal on I would have agreed with you last year on Jesse Puljujarvi. I think that this year he's given a chance with new management and new coaching. I think that he's actually really determined to play, and I think he's actually going to give it his last bit run for his money. Right now, I would put him. I do agree he is in bust territory right now, but he has the opportunity to be what we expected him to be. But the ultimate, the penitentiary, the worst bust of all time is Nail Yakupov.
Yes.
Everybody know who Nail fucking Yakupov is? That guy is exactly. This guy was expected to be this guy was expected to be similar to, they saw him as someone like a not Connor McDavid. We're talking someone like a Nate McKinnon or someone of that stature, right? This kid has, he got maybe 0.5 points per game early on. He got driven out of the league, and he is playing in the KHL right now. And he was considered to be the savior for the Edmonton Oilers back in 2012. The worst of it all, and what really rubbed me the wrong way, was his very first goal in the NHL was a garbage goal off a rebound in a regular season overtime game against, I think, the Kings. And he skates all the way to the blue line from the crease, gets on his knees, slides across the whole fucking ice as if he just won the Stanley Cup. And it was the worst first goal I've ever fucking seen in my life. And I'm embarrassed as an Oiler fan to have ever had him on my team. So that is the biggest one by far. Pietro is another big one that just never took off. He was supposed to be a huge savior for the Islanders. But those are big ones. Eric, I think Nico Hischier is a little early. I think he's a solid player, but I don't think he's a complete.
This is last year to determine.
A bust to me is someone who's not playing in the league. Jesse Puljujarvi was playing in Sweden. No, I'm sorry, in Finland last year. So under our payroll, which is awesome.
How the fuck do you know that?
Trust me, I know it all.
I knew you would know about this guy, and you're still paying him money.
Well, he's still under our payroll. He's still a restricted free agent. But I think that, here's the reason, Alex, I know who he is, because he was a first overall. I mean, he was one of the first overall picks. So you keep tabs on those guys.
Well, I mean, just the fact that he's playing in Finland of all places.
Oh, dude, we've kept up tabs on this guy. He's a big deal. So
Let's see if he's a big deal.
Watch this year. He's going to play. I hope he plays with Connor McDavid and lights it up. The biggest issue he had was the language barrier. He never really figured it out. So hopefully he can establish that issue.
What about Jack Hughes?
Jack Hughes,
this is his second year, right?
Yeah, he's only played 1 year.
Jack Hughes is
What are you
tough.
doing, bro?
Jack Hughes is tough.
I'm being a hardo.
You're pretty rough. Comparing him to his brother, they're completely two different players. Quinn Hughes, you're right, is better at his position than Jack Hughes is. I will give you that. And I think people were higher on Jack Hughes in the beginning. I don't know if he's necessarily a bust yet. I think it's a little early. You got to give him a few years. But you are right. His brother is definitely better in his position by far. But yeah, I mean that these are all good. These are all good picks. It really amazes me, the process of picking players, drafting, trying to create a player out of these draft picks and see some of them exceed expectations and do great things. Some come out of the shadows that are like, where did you come from? I didn't even know who you were a year ago, and now you're a superstar. Or some of them that just completely fall from grace. But that is my segment this week.
Thank you, Tradon. Definitely a list you never want to be on.
No.
So thank you for taking us through those. And that's going to conclude episode 22 of TLDR podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate the support. Make sure you like us on Twitter, on Instagram, not Facebook. We don't have a Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Other than that, have a fantastic week, and we'll see you later.